right. Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of Grace and Gossip. Grace and Gossip, where elegance meets intrigue. We do a little talking about reality TV dish with sophistication and grace, as a woman should today, as a 2025 woman of today should. You know, we don't want to get too ratchet. We want to keep it cute. As always, I am your host, Christal XO, and I am excited to be here with you guys on this Monday night. If you guys can see, my co-host over here, Sugar Pie, is knocked out. She was knocked out last week, but she had her buddy with her. Sugar Pie. Now, before we get started, because I know Sugar Pie is my official co-host for Grace and Gossip, and some of you probably are looking at her now and thinking that she looks really cute. She's got her little dress on. But I thought, before we got into today's Grace and Gossip, I would let you guys know about a little Grace and Gossip happening at my house. A little doggy gossip from Sugar Pie here. Yeah, she looks super sweet and innocent right now. But get back in the bed. Get back in the bed. Okay. All right. So Saturday, those of you that watch the channel know that we do a relationship recap. I do it with Scorpio Mo. I actually went to his studio along with C-Dub. He was there. So we filmed there. So I went a little early so we could watch the Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion and then kind of get our notes together and talk. So Sugar Pie was here, and my mom is here. And so my mom let Sugar Pie out, just, having her take a walk with her. She did not know that Sugar Pie was in heat, right? Because I hadn't told her that. So Sugar Pie is in heat. She goes on a walk with my mom to the mailbox, and this little chihuahua that lives down the street around the corner, he came, and I guess he noticed that Sugar Pie was in heat. She became very aware of him since she was in heat, and so she decided to leave with him. So she leaves. My mom is distraught. She eventually texts me and she's like, oh, okay, Sugar Pie, we went out like we usually do. And she did not come back. I became distraught then because we live, kind of out in the rural area, and there are like coyotes and all types of stuff out here. So I'm out there trying to make sure that we do the show and not be distracted. But I'm also, this is my road dog, right? So I was worried about her. So I'm thinking, oh my God, a coyote got her, and she's never out. She never, if you take her out, she uses the bathroom, she comes right back in. Sugar Pie is missing 3 hours. At this point, I'm assuming that she's gone. Like, I don't, I'm thinking that my life, oh my God, my baby is gone. And, just trying to push through Saturday's show without losing it. And, Scorpio Mo and C-Dub are trying to keep me calm. I get ready to leave, but I see my mom text me that Sugar Pie came back. Like, where, everybody here is praying. My husband came home, Gun Boss came and actually like looked for her for a little while. No one could find her. 3.5 hours, she's gone. Sugar Pie, my mom texted me that she came back, and okay, so I could exhale. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't know where she was. I gave her a bath, trimmed her up a little bit, put her little dress on, and everything was fine, right? I'm thinking, okay, Sugar Pie is back. She probably had to withstand, the flora and fauna out there. She was probably scared and beside herself because she's a house dog. Like, even though she loves going outside, she's never out there for very long, especially without the other dogs. This heifer today, I'm, doing my work, getting, preparing dinner, and I hear her crying and scratching at the window. Now, the other dog is inside, so I'm thinking, why is Sugar Pie crying at the window? Like, what's wrong? Usually she doesn't, that's very unlike her. The small dog that Sugar Pie actually apparently had a date with the other night and went out and had some wild times, she is crying at the window to go back outside with him. I tell her to remove herself from the window. The dog has come up to the front door, almost like he came to take her out, right? And she's crying, trying to go outside with him. Kane, the pit bull, is barking. It is a scene. It is a scene. And it is crazy. I just cannot believe that she really, all this time we're thinking that I'm scared that she had a horrible time. Sugar Pie has went on a date and has made a friend. And Adrian says she probably did some, spend some time, spend some time with this young dog. And now he has come back. He was here at our front door this morning. Adrian had to run him away with the rocks. And so when I tried to get her out of the window, this is what happened earlier. What are you doing? You've been in that window. I told you may not go and play with him anymore. No. I am not happy with you. Where's this little ugly dog at? No, you cannot go outside. Yeah, so just wanted to show you guys the dog. I could not get him on video, but he was at first where I panned with the camera. He was just out there. He was just out there, trying to get her to come out. She's crying. And when I told her she could not go back out, she went to the window, stood up and looked outside. So yeah, it's been a time. It has been a time. You cannot, it's not even spring yet. It's not spring, it's still winter. I don't know why she's acting like this, but Sugar Pie is on punishment and she's not allowed to go outside. That being said, let's get into today's Grace and gossip. Let me know which shows you guys really, really like. If you're here in the chat, I see that we have some people here, but I don't see any interaction or engagement in the chat. Let me see what you guys are thinking. I am going to start today with Married at First Sight because I'm super irritated at how Married at First Sight is going right now. Let me know what you guys think about Married at First Sight. Now, I want to, there's three couples that are really annoying me. I don't have a picture of Madison and Alan, but I will next week, depending on what happens tomorrow. But the experts on Married at First Sight, I think really, really, really dropped the ball. I think we've talked about this numerous weeks. They drop the ball. They basically leave people out to dry with a husband or wife, a spouse that is not really into them. And I think what happens each season is that certain people basically suffer abuse. It becomes like verbal abuse. Whenever you're sitting there being rejected over and over and over again. And a lot of times people are driven to stay in the situation because I don't know if it's because of the contract with the show or it's just because a lot of these type A personalities, people don't like to lose. So you're trying to figure out how to win the person over, right? And so I guess, Alan, I feel like is in this situation. Alan and Madison. Madison thinks she's better than Alan. Someone has convinced her that she is gorgeous and deserves, I don't know if it's George Clooney or Brad Pitt, but she feels like Alan is definitely beneath her. And she voices that, which I think is really crazy to me. She did mention that she has overcome, some obstacles. And so she's got some delusions of grandeur, I think is the issue with that couple. But as upset as I get with Madison, it's still not as bad as David and Michelle and Aikichi and Mem. Allison, this last situation, again, when you're with someone that you don't like, what happens is every season when someone is not attracted to the other person, they go out of their way to try to make the other person seem like it's their fault that they don't like them. So if I'm not attracted to you, I'm going to try to point fingers and figure out why figure out something bad about you that I can use as an excuse because I don't want to acknowledge that I'm really just superficial and I probably shouldn't have signed up for this show. I don't have a problem with people being superficial. If you're superficial and you want someone that you're attracted to, hey, I can admit I may be a little superficial. I don't want a person I'm not attracted to, but I also would not go on Married at First Sight because Married at First Sight, the likelihood of you finding at the end of the altar exactly what you've imagined in your head is slim to none. So I think that Madison and Alan, he actually is just a genuine good person. Obviously, it sucks when you are very attracted to someone that's not attracted to you. And that happens more often than not on this show. And that's definitely the case with them. but it's obvious that Madison is looking for a reason to get upset. So when Alan said that looking at her, she looks like someone that is kind of superficial, she starts crying and she's like, oh, I have to deal with this my whole life. And well, he said that she, from the first impression, kind of looks like a party girl. Well, she has acknowledged that she likes to party a lot. She goes out with her friends. That's one of her priorities, that she said she did not want her husband to think that she was not going to still go out with her friends. And so it's kind of weird that she's crying and she's so upset and she's so insulted by him calling her exactly what she acts like. Next, the fact of how she dresses, what she looks like. I mean, we're all very aware of what our image, what people take from our image, you know, especially as an adult, you know, this is how I dress. This is what people would assume from what I look like. So it begs a lot to be desired. And I think that if someone else said to Madison exactly what Alan is saying, she would have no problem with it. And that's my problem. Like, why come on the show if you're going to treat someone unkind because they don't look exactly like you wanted them to look? It's maddening, but it's still not as bad as these other couples. Every week we talk about the same two couples. We talk about Madison. Here we go, our girl Michelle and David, and we talk about MM and Aikichi. And with David and Michelle, this last week, I looked online. There were a lot of people that were really, really upset with David. Like, oh my gosh, you know, he's talking to another woman. And I'm just like, realistically, I mean, you guys, please put in the chat. Those of you that are here, please let me know in the chat. If you would go on a show like Married at First Sight, Druzy, would you go on a show like Married at First Sight? And if the person had no interest in you, they're telling you over and over, every time you guys have a conversation, they're telling you that they're not attracted to you, that this is very difficult for them to be in a situation with you. Michelle acts like being around David is like manual labor that she's not getting paid for. This is just really hard for me. And she's constantly letting him know that he's beneath her. So the fact that he was talking to someone else, I don't understand why she's acting like she's so hurt. But really, she's acting like a woman who has proof, and she just is excited about proving, you know, you look really bad. And I'm like, he doesn't really look that bad. He looks like a person who's been rejected and made to feel bad about themselves all season, at least for the past 4 or 5 weeks. And so his response to that has been to probably talk to someone else to make his ego feel better, right? I just don't see that he's done something so bad. You all let me know if you disagree, if you think that David is this horrible person. I do think David's hairstyles are horrible. If he's done anything, it is his hair. It's just weird. Like the 2 braids that he had, 2 cornrows. And I don't have a problem with long hair. You guys know my husband has long hair, but I don't like the way David styles his. But again, this show is supposed to be beyond looks. It's supposed to be about compatibility and what you put down on your sheet of paper and what the therapist got from you is supposed to be about that, not about the looks. So I think Michelle needs a lot of therapy. I think she's going to regret how she comes across this season when she, you know, as she's watching it back. I cannot imagine her not regretting it. She just shouldn't have came on this show. I don't know any situation that Michelle would have been okay on the show, because even if there was a guy that she was attracted to and did not live in their parents' basement, they should not allow people on the show who live with their parents. Love is Blind failed for that with Nikki D, and Married at First Sight. This is horrible here, because it's kind of difficult to even imagine living with someone who does live with their parents. I mean, that's just no woman is really going to be head over heels excited about that. And the experts did know that, and maybe they were just shooting for drama. But I don't think that there's any formula to which, Michelle would have been okay, just because even her friends have said that she takes a long time to warm up to people. She's kind of like a conservative, kind of like a stick in the mud a little bit. And I don't have a problem with people that are more conservative, but if you are judgmental towards others, that becomes the problem. Druzy says Michelle treated David horribly, so she can't be surprised that he's talking to another one. That's my only point. Like, why would you expect him not to talk to anyone when you have made it clear? She actually said that if she told him she needed space, it wasn't just for a few hours, it was for a whole day. So basically, don't call me. She said, don't text me because it just makes me angry. So obviously she doesn't want to be bothered. She does not like him. She does not want to be bothered. So why would she be upset that he was texting another woman? Strange. What he should have done, though, is he should have admitted that he mistakenly sent her the text message. He should have. I mean, men tell stupid lies, and that was a stupid lie. And the fact that he keeps doubling down with it, it's ridiculous. But I'm just saying he's not the villain that everyone is trying to make him out to be on social media, because she did not want him. And if you don't want someone, you don't get to stand in the place, reject them, and then they don't have a choice but to accept your rejection. Like, you can't have it both ways. And I think there are a lot of people that want to do that. I don't want you, but I don't want you to be happy with anyone else. I want you to just be miserable because I don't want you. You are supposed to sit there and be miserable and pine after me, and I keep giving you my behind a kiss, and that is the way this is supposed to go. No. Hey, Moati, no. Mm-mm. So I was actually happy that David was talking to someone else, because I was just like, why does he keep going over and above for this woman who's made it clear that she does not want anything to do with him? Why is he still just trying? Even in the scene with Pastor Cal and Michelle, he was like, are you really over it? Is there any chance? It's like he just is so enamored with the blonde hair and blue eyes that he cannot move past it. He just cannot move past it. So I'm disgusted with that couple, and I'm really disgusted with Michelle's behavior. Is David stupid for lying about that? Absolutely. Now, I have not seen the upcoming episodes for Married at First Sight this season, so I don't know if David and Madison actually end up hooking up. If so, that would be strange to me, because Madison, again, acts like she came from these humble beginnings and she doesn't want to go back to that either. She overcame all this instability, and then David living with his parents would seem a little unstable. She does seem to want somebody with swag. All the women this season are delusional. Can we just say that? Camille, Carla is like, I like Carla, but she's just living in La La Land. Juan also has a lot of issues, but they are the least toxic this season. So the least toxic, which says a lot. Camille, I think Camille and Thomas are more toxic. Not Thomas, but Camille, because she's like trying to make him look like a rapper, and he's grown. You know what I mean? Like, she's just, even when it came to the intimacy, she's like, slap me around a little bit. Like, she wants something that she probably can't handle. Real talk. She should leave Chicago and come to Atlanta. She'd get a lot of that, and then probably would be scared and running back to Chicago to find an intellectual like Thomas. But I want to move off of them, and I want to talk today about Amem and Aikichi, because I feel like we have cracked the code on when the relationship between the two of them went astray. Now, with Michelle and David, it was clear at the reception when she learned, first of all, I think when she saw him, I think she was not attracted to him at all. But at the reception, when she learned that he lived with his parents and his family, she was turned off, and it was a wrap. I mean, she started hyperventilating. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. She said that she started hyperventilating. She said she couldn't breathe. That's weird. But this, in my opinion, is when things start to go wrong. And you guys know that I have this book, Dear Alpha Female, It's Not Him, It's You. But I want to acknowledge in this case, in the case of Aikichi and Amem, it is Aikichi. It is him. it is not her. Now, I'm not saying that MM doesn't have some issues, because she definitely does, and she's definitely an alpha female. But we're going to talk about this particular scene and why this, to me, was enough red flags that she should have not been as committed to the relationship as she was.
Because this is a lot. Like, this area is bigger than my whole apartment. Do you have?
I keep my karaoke stuff in there because it goes down.
When it goes down?
Yeah, I like to karaoke. I have had men state that my career and my being successful in reaching goals can be intimidating. So the way that he's behaving kind of has me like a little nervous. So this is the guest bedroom. I already laid out like my scrubs and stuff that I'm going to need.
I feel like this is the size of my bedroom. How many TVs you got?
4.
I feel like I'm lacking. I'm depressed.
Don't.
My God, today. I see what you did here.
Did you guys see it? If you saw it, put a 1 in the chat. Like, that entire scene was the point when Akichi and then it was not going to work. There were several things. All right, we'll start just by him mentioning numerous times that his place would fit into her place several times. The guest bedroom was bigger than his actual main bedroom. He was blown away at the her spot. The fact that it was so big, beautiful. How many TVs do you have? I feel like I'm lacking. Like, everything that happened this season stemmed from that scene. Him saying that she made him feel bad about himself. She didn't do anything. In fact, she was trying to be conversational in that video. And as you guys saw, he took every one of her accomplishments like a dig against himself. He said, I'm depressed after seeing what she had. How many TVs do you have? I feel like I'm lacking. I'm depressed. It kept happening the entire scene, the entire time he was there. When she made a little joke that she liked to do karaoke, he was just like, it goes down. Like, he felt so, seeing how successful she is and what material things she had made him feel so bad about himself that he was unable to see her. The only thing he sees when he looks at her is his own failures. And that's a horrible, that's just a relationship can't work like that, male or female, but it definitely, I think that's definitely what a lot of alpha females end up seeing. Shameless plug here. Pick up your copy of Dear Alpha Female. It's not him, it's you. An interactive devotional designed to help you attract the love you deserve, because you don't deserve to have someone that is jealous of you. Hey, Edna. Hey, African Asatan. You don't deserve to have someone that can't see happiness for you because they compare it to their own shortcomings or what they perceive to be their shortcomings. So that scene, I was like, from that scene forward, everything, because if you notice that he says that she makes him feel bad, she does not speak to him with respect. He said that being around her does not make him, he said that he detested her because when they talked to Pastor Cal and Dr. P, as they were going to move back in together, he said he did not want to move back in, right with her because he detested her. And whenever you ask him exactly what she's done, what has she said to him, he called her an asshole. And it's like, okay, so what does she do to make you feel this way? Or what does she do to, how has she acted towards you in a way that was not kind or without respect? And he doesn't have any proof. But if you saw in that scene, he says, I'm depressed. I feel like I'm lacking. And that's and she didn't do anything but show him what she had. And actually she felt, hey Tina Marie, it felt like in that scene she was excited to show him. It's very clear to all of us that Mem is excited to have a man. She is acting like Sugar Pie was acting with her her little friend, a little chihuahua that came over. Mem is excited to have a man. She's calling him her husband. She had her ring. She was upset. Her feelings were hurt when he wasn't wearing his ring. And I think that's what a lot of professional women deal with when they feel rejected. It's like, I can do all of this other stuff. Why is this not working? And I think that I'm going to say he definitely felt small looking at what she had, but that's because his focus was on the material things, not on getting to know her. He just automatically felt less than himself because of what she has accomplished. And so for a person like him, he would have to be with a woman where he feels bigger than. And if being with someone who is accomplished can make you feel small, then being with someone that you have more than, I feel like that person would try to make the other person feel small because they don't understand that people's value is not connected to their material things. So if you feel like you're small because you have less than me, then when you get with someone that you have more than, you're going to treat them like they're small. And so that's why even, people say like, well, when men aren't, don't have a lot of money, they should be with a woman that doesn't have much either. And I don't think that's true. I think they need to work on themselves because what they're going to do is try to make that woman feel small because they feel like she should be excited to be with them and she should be lucky to be with them because they're equating value to the wrong things. So I don't think Aikichi should be with anyone, at this time. I think he's looking for validation in all the wrong places, trying to be on television, probably trying to, increase his profile and make himself seem more attractive to women because of that. And I think that that is a mentally abusive person. The problem with Mem is that she was so needy or she wanted so badly to have a man that even though he has not treated her with any respect or any, he's not shown her any type of value or even that he likes her as a friend. And she is almost like stuck and thinking, well, no, you're supposed to be my husband. Like at the point that he doesn't have his ring on, I feel like she shouldn't even have pushed it. She should have just been like, cool. And then when he said that he was going to his homecoming, and then she said, well, I would love to meet your mom or your family. If he wanted you to meet his family, he would have mentioned that. And then did you guys see how it's feeding his ego to reject her? And because he feels so bad about what she has, that when he is able to make her feel bad, it makes him feel big. And I hate that. I hate that for her. I hate that that's happening. And I wish it would stop. And I wish it would stop. I don't like it at all. I do not like it at all. When he is able to say something like, she made me feel uncomfortable, or when he was able to say that she tried to be intimate with him and he was turned off, like that makes him feel big because he's able to act like she's disgusting and to reject her. And so before someone can reject him, he wants to reject them. He's mental, like I say, it's mental abuse. And it irritates me that the experts allow that to happen. And they do it every season. It's one of the things I hate about Married at First Sight. They don't intervene. They don't hold people accountable. And they haven't been, I don't know if they ever have, but I think it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And going back and watching that scene, I was like, that is exactly how this whole relationship fell apart. At the point that it was almost like when the opposite of Michelle seeing David live with his parents, how she was so disgusted because she felt like she was so much better than him. When Akichi saw a Mem's house, he felt like she was so much better than him and he could not live up to it. And so at that point, it became his goal to make her feel bad and to put her down and to make her, into this person that wanted him and he could reject. That's feeding him with power, and that's disgusting. And I hate that about this show. And I hope that she will stop. This last episode last week, I did not like it because she, was upset because he did not. She even kind of, mentioned that to the experts that he went to his homecoming. He's never going to take a girl like that to his homecoming. He wants to look like he's the diva. He wants to look like he's the star. He would be embarrassed to be with someone that probably his friends and everyone would gravitate towards. It actually would make him look good, but he doesn't see that. It would make him feel so insecure because he doesn't feel worthy, because inside he just doesn't feel worthy. So, I am disgusted with that couple. Those two couples, like I said, I would like to see, I don't know if they have contracts that require them to stay in the marriage until the end. There have been a lot of seasons where people have left or have stopped, before the end. And I would like to see MM leave the process tomorrow. This is Monday. Tuesday, tomorrow, I would like to see her leave the process. I don't think she will. She hasn't shown us anything that suggests that she would back away. But I would love to see her leave the process just to kind of regain some of her own pride, self-pride, and self-worth. Now, what we do know, and I alluded to this last week, is that she, obviously they did not stay together, and she is supposedly engaged, got engaged around the holidays. So I do think Amem wants to be married, but what I hope, and we'll have to just kind of watch and see how this plays out. What I hope is that this is someone from her past that maybe she already knew, that came back around and she gave a chance to, based on, the fact that she realized that what she wanted was there the whole time. I'm hoping that is what happens, as opposed to just she met some new person and just allowed them to put a ring on her finger because she wants to be married so bad. I really hope that's not the case. Sometimes when you're in a marrying place, and I think especially when people are at a point in their life where that's the only thing that they're missing, it can be very easy to just try to add water and mix, right? I just try to find a person that looks good on paper, add them to the equation, and have this picture perfect ending. And sugar pie. What? I guess she's, again, had a hard day. Probably dreaming of her little chihuahua friend. But yeah, I don't like it. I do have some good news about Married at First Sight, though. I wrote an article earlier today that is on Collider. A few seasons ago in Boston. Boston was a wild season. Let me know if you guys remember Boston. But there was a couple in Boston that I got very irritated with. It's just, this show is an irritating show. Let me know if you guys remember Michael and Jasmina. They looked really cute together. I think she was a little taller than him, which causes some trouble sometimes. But Michael and Jasmina were a cute couple. He was a personal trainer. I forget what she did, but I know she was she was a lot more conservative in her views. And, I feel like she just wasn't open. She automatically friend zoned him. She saw him. She automatically friend zoned him. And he never was able to get out of the friend zone. There he is. He was never able to get out of the friend zone. Cute guy. Came across as very authentic and genuine. And I remember thinking, I wish she would have just gave him a chance, but she just wouldn't. She wouldn't. And I get, again, but at least she stayed in the process, and she wasn't as, she wasn't really flexible, but she wasn't cruel. I think Michelle is cruel. There were some other people on that Boston season that were nuts. But Jasmina never really gave Michael a chance. And so I think the audience was trying. It came out that he actually had 2 female roommates. That was not good. She was really turned off by that because I don't think most women would kind of like, that's kind of a big obstacle to get over, right? Big hurdle to jump. But in any case, I do think he was seriously into her, you know, and really liked her. And you could tell like when one person is attracted to the other person. So anyway, this was 2022. They obviously went their separate ways. Well, we have good news. You know, I feel like good things always happen to them. And I always tell people that watch this channel, if you truly want love and you have done your work and you're a genuine person, love is out there for you. And love was out there for Michael. And so he put up a post today on his Instagram, and there it is. Dad established in 2025, mom. And he let people know that he's going to be a dad for the first time coming up. We don't know exactly how far along his girl is, but this is a picture of the 2 of them. There they are. He found someone that values him, and he has made that move, and they are having a little one. That season, like I said, was interesting, but I did mention in my article that Mark, the shark, you guys remember the guy that had like the really bright blue eyes? I like him, and I hope he finds love too. He was a nice guy, just a little quirky, you know, and his wife was that shit crazy. Yeah, and the 2 of them together just kept combusting, but he wished Michael lots of success and congratulated him on his Instagram. He said, "Hey, my brother, so excited for you and your girl." You mentioned her name and the upcoming baby. Wishing you guys lots of love and a healthy upcoming baby. So congratulations to Michael. I think her name is Angie. I believe that she's like, I'm not sure. I want to say a flight attendant, but I'm not sure. Very pretty, and there they are together. I don't know if they're engaged, but we do know that they are together, and there's their little announcement post that was on Instagram today. So long story short, the moral of the story is love is always out there. Love is out there, and I think that as long as you are genuine and a good person, it will come back to you. A lot of the people that are genuine people on maps, even if they don't get that person, you see that in, you know, later on they end up in a situation. Just like we see that supposedly Amen is engaged. We know that she really wants to be married. So there have been a few people. I think Vincent and Brianna are my favorite couple. And then of course there's Woody and I can't think of her name offhand, but they're adorable. But I like Brianna and Vincent. They have 2 little babies now. But congratulations again to Michael. And it did not take him long to find happiness after this situation with Jasmina. I looked up, yes, Woody and Amani. Thanks, Druzy. I looked up information on Jasmina to see if she was in a relationship. And from what we know, just from posts and everything, she's single, but she is working on her fashion and very focused on herself. And I would just say to all of the XO family that are watching or that may watch this on the replay, a career is extremely important, right? We all know, especially with everything that continues happening in this long year of 2025, that we want to have our business in order. But I do think that we all need to know that there's more to life than just business. And so I hope that when people go through these social experiments that are reality television, they do realize later that, you know, a person having a lot of money and having their business together is not the only thing that makes them valuable. I'm not trying to preach, just my little 2 cents. I know that's probably different than most people believe, but I'm going to keep saying it. And that's why, you know, you can say what you want when it's your channel. All right, guys. I have continued to watch the Fall of Diddy, and I think I'm probably watching this because I told you guys I was so closely connected to that story because of my background in entertainment and being a publicist and media training. The the cast, but I watched the Fall of Diddy over the weekend, which is on ID and Max. And this is very, 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 very unsettling. If we did not think things could get more unsettling, they do. There are some of the same witnesses. And shouts out to Relentless Aaron, who was on that this 4-part series. He mentions, he's an author, colleague of mine, mentions having a run-in with Diddy that's very bizarre during the time of the East Coast, West Coast beef. And says that Diddy basically was in the car with, I don't know if it was a bodyguard or someone that he was with, saw them wearing a Death Row East t-shirt and started to chase them down, and basically, was violently threatening them, calling them, cursing at them out of the window because of them wearing the shirt, and chasing them. All these stories are allegedly, but I mean, I would assume they're vetted to a certain extent to be on the documentary. So far, I would assume that. There is another girlfriend that I had never seen before, but I'm also not one that just like stalks his pages or anything like that. So there's a young lady named Kat Paisan. She has a very disturbing story in this docuseries as well. She mentions that he basically forced himself on her. And when he was on drugs, she said it was a drug called 2C, which I also have never heard of. But obviously there was a lot of different drugs. And I know when you have money, there's no limit to what you have the ability to do. But with this, over last couple of days, two more alleged victims have been added to the federal indictment, which is crazy. And federal prosecutors have added 2 more victims to their federal indictment. They filed a superseding indictment against Combs in connection with allegations involving 2 new witnesses. Now, there's one part of this that says Sean P. Diddy Combs is accused of dangling a person over an apartment balcony and coercing 2 additional women into commercial sex acts. In an expanded indictment, federal prosecutors filed against him on Thursday. And I think that documentary started last week, I believe. But he was indicted in the Southern District of New York in September on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, more of this is gonna come out obviously in May. We got a lot of time and probably a lot more documentaries before, but and I'm sorry, Druzy, that she said this is triggering, but there's a lot more information to come out, a lot more documentaries. There's several, and I think that unfortunately a lot of people are making money off of this, but I'm not really sure how they're determining or who was someone that was, that he was basically kind of persuading to commit sex acts that are considered trafficking, or they were considered girlfriends. Like, because this young lady says that she was a girlfriend, or she was listed as an ex-girlfriend, and we've never seen, I don't know. So it's just be interesting to see how all these people are listed and what but we do know that if the federal prosecutor has added them to the indictment, then they are in cooperation with the federal prosecutor. I don't know. And this is criminal. It's not civil. So that's another thing. I think a lot of people kind of have gotten this mixed up, and he's in prison he's in jail because this is criminal at this point. it's scary and it's weird, but the allegation of him dangling someone over a balcony, I heard that before, and I'm not sure if this is a different person that's been dangled over a balcony or this is the same person, but I had heard this story last year. So I just wanted to keep you guys updated. Like I said, we have a long way to go before May, so there's probably a lot more information that is going to come out. But for them to make that addition to this indictment, right when this comes out, what I would love to have a talk to a lawyer about, and maybe I'll invite a lawyer to come on the show, is how will he be able to get a jury that is unbiased with all this information out there? Nola, I heard that as well. I heard it was a friend of Cassie's, right? That was done to. However, I don't know if this is the same person, because in this indictment, it's suggesting that that person was also involved in a sex act. So I don't know if this is the same person that was Cassie's friend. I think she was a songwriter. But yeah, it's just crazy, and it's crazy because, like I said, I don't think there's anyone in the industry that Diddy did not touch in some way, So depending on how this goes, and at this point, because there's so many more indictments being added, and it keeps going. They have these documentaries, and there's so many people involved. I cannot imagine how we would not have somewhat of a guilty verdict. Maybe not across the board, but it's definitely too much for him to be able to walk. But anyway, I just wanted to share that there were 2 more indictments. I'll keep you guys updated on that. I don't know when the next documentary will air. I don't know if I know that 50 Cent has one that is with Netflix, but I believe that one is being held until closer to the trial. So I will keep you guys posted on that. There is good news to share. Wendy Williams was granted an order by the judge to be able to go and fly to Miami to spend her father's birthday with him. As you guys may know, Wendy Williams is 60 years old and is, under basically like the same type of situation that Britney Spears was before. And so she has a guardian. And she cannot, spend her own money. She has to have supervision, but she is able to go to see her father, who is 94 years old. I didn't realize, I was looking at this story earlier today. It just amazes me that Wendy Williams is only 60 years old. And when you think about 60 years old, that is really young to have a conservatorship and not to have access to anything that belongs to you. That's so Wendy Williams is 60. J-Lo is 55. Like, when you think about it in those terms, like 60 is really not old at all. It's like, I forget that she was, because Wendy has a very different type of legacy, right? With her being the gossip girl and always, kind of being controversial. It's just, you can forget that she's only 60. Toni Braxton is 57. Can you imagine? Tony's out here taking photos. She was looking sexy as ever and looking amazing. And all of a sudden she's just like stripped of her right to be her. Like, that's crazy. I don't understand why guardianship was not given to her family, but from what I've heard, she doesn't have a lot of family that is positively involved with her. We know that her and her son, there was a little bit of a distance and disconnect between them because he wanted her to go into rehab before she did. And it's just, there's a lot there to that. And sometimes people say, well, why isn't family involved? And maybe there's not family that's willing to take on that responsibility. That's a lot of responsibility. And Wendy there is a documentary coming out on Tubi, which is crazy because, we just saw that last year on Lifetime, the docu-series that was two-part docu-series on Wendy Williams. And she's looking crazy with her wig off and all that. Now there's going to be another one on Tubi, and I don't like any of it. I don't like it, guys. I don't like it. I feel bad for her, but you know, I think we have to be aware life comes fast. Life just comes fast. So sometimes what you do today will show up in the opportunities that you have tomorrow, to live your life. Tina, oh, well, we have to let us know. We'll have to make sure we wish you a happy birthday as it gets closer to your birthday. But yeah, 57 is not, I mean, that's 57, 60. That's not, that is where you're supposed to be enjoying your life, the fruits of your labor, not she's called it like a prison, but I don't think it's like prison, but definitely for her not to have access to her money and her fans. She was able to go, I think her son, I'm not sure if it was his graduation or something earlier this year she was able to go to, but I'm glad she'll be able to go to her father's birthday, because still having her father at 94 is a huge blessing. There are a lot of us that don't have, our parents at that age. So that's huge that her dad is still here. And from what I understand, he's still coherent. So that's a huge blessing that she's able to go see him. And hopefully they're thinking that when this docuseries comes out on Tubi, that fans will rally behind and get some support, some financial support, and that she would, that would help with her conservatorship, like with Britney Spears. But in my opinion, Britney Spears should have stayed on that conservatorship, because with her dancing and looking in the camera the way she is, I understand why her dad, had control over her. Because if she's doing that on Instagram, imagine what she's doing off Instagram. Yeah, I don't think Britney Spears should have came off the conservatorship. Outside of that, I wanted to talk briefly. Okay, Edna says her birthday is Super Bowl Sunday. That's what's up. You'll be 67. Yes. And you are definitely 60, you're going to be 67 years young. But yeah, I'm sure you're going to have a nice time. It's Super Bowl Sunday, a great day to celebrate. But yeah, I wanted to talk briefly. I will say there's two things. Married to Medicine. I'm going to have some clips from Married to Medicine. We're going to talk a little bit more about this next Monday. But the scene with Quad getting tipsy, drunk, whatever, and having the kind of going back and forth with her ex-husband, Dr. G, and his new wife, Sweet Tea, with her boyfriend on the side, was very odd. I do think that that's a really strange position for anyone to be in. I don't think anyone wants to be anywhere near their ex with their new person. Like, most people just don't, even if you guys are cool and you're, cordial, you don't want to be on a show and have to see them every day and have people constantly comparing the two of you. It's just not, that's just not comfortable. I think a lot of people are saying, well, maybe she's not over it. I think that Quad wants him to see her as, I think ego is driving a lot of this. I think Quad feels like she's so much better than Sweet Tea. And maybe Dr. G, she wants him to acknowledge that. She wants the other ladies to acknowledge that. It's just weird, you know what I mean? And so I think all that is ego. All that was her ego talking. And I think, people don't realize women have egos too. We have egos, maybe not testosterone fuel, but we definitely have egos, And I think that seeing him seem happy with his new wife and not, crying and broke down over her, is what kind of fueled her to want to kind of, show off in his face. What I don't like is when men, we already realize, like Dr. G and Sweet Tea, there's a ridiculous age difference, right? But then seeing her try to talk and him basically shushing her so that she didn't go back and forth with Quad, it's just like, but I will say, out of all the May December couples, I like to call it that, of the much older, one older spouse and the younger spouse, I think Sweet Tea is happy with that older man. I think that's exactly what she wanted. I think she's very strategic. I think she got what she wanted. She wanted a doctor. I hope she gets pregnant. I really hope that she's able to have her babies. But yeah, I don't see anything wrong with their relationship, because I think that if he's controlling her, she wants to be controlled. Um, the only other thing I want to say is I wrote another article today. Well, it came out today about Love and Marriage Huntsville. And you guys know Scorpio Mo and I have been really going in. We're going to talk again. We're going to have another Saturday show where we're going to go into the reunion right after the show airs. Right here, right after the show airs. We had a good time on Saturday. I just want to say, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but you know, I wrote an article that said I understand why I thought Melody did the right thing by quitting. But what I want to say is, after seeing the reunion, seeing the rest of the reunion, my reason for her leaving has changed. There is going to be a huge shocker on Saturday. And when I tell you guys huge, huge shocker on Saturday. Huge, crazy. And it changed my perspective on why she wants to leave the show. I'm just going to say that. I will say that the mellow meters are going to be shocked. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But yes, I implore you to join us on Saturday, because it is going to be quite the shocker. And I just didn't see things going quite this way, but I definitely understand. I think they might care, Nola. Even if they don't care, they're going to be shocked. Let's just say that they may keep the same energy, but they're going to be shocked. They're going to be shocked. I will say, out of all the seasons, this is season 9. I learned a lot more about the inner workings of the friendship of the comeback group. Yeah. The comeback group, the friendship is very different than we all would have assumed. Let's just say. It explained to me just some of the dynamics that we don't understand. You know, why does Marceau seem to have a crush on Melody? Like, why? There's a lot of questions that you may have answered on Saturday. Tina says, I'm not watching that show. If she leaves, I'm done. Well, I will say this. I don't think there was any way. I think Melody started this season knowing she was going to leave, because she torched every bridge, every friendship. She put the nail in the coffin on. There was no way for them to, go back and be friends again after the way she talked to them and that kind of stuff. So, that scene with her and Kimmy going back and forth, even this past Saturday, even the one with her talking about Maurice, like she just didn't leave any room for them to find a good place. And I feel like she's very smart, so I feel like she knew what she was doing. And I also, can't blame her. Like, if she felt like they were all in cahoots with Martell, and she did allude to that several times, that maybe Edna, that is not it. I'm not going to answer any of the questions, but Edna, no, that is not it. No, Edna. If you are watching this on the replay, just know that Edna asked a question, and that was not, it's not that. But it is definitely shocking. I was shocked. And Tina said she was the main reason that I watched. But okay, I would ask you, Tina, what did you think? Where would you want her to go, like, after this season? Because obviously she doesn't like Tisha. Obviously she doesn't like Kimmy. Obviously she can't be friends with Trish. Destiny, obviously she does not like. Sunny is not a principal character. You know what I mean? And the person that she left, that she started this whole feud with, is in jail. You know what I mean? So Sonny is not not an ally. And I don't think Mel liked her anyway. I mean, it's kind of hard to like Sonny because what she did was so ridiculous, you know what I mean? And still won't take accountability for it. So where would Melanie have been? Like, what was would they have had to bring in new people? They tried to bring in new people with Shanita Foster, and I don't remember the other lady's name. I think it was like her makeup artist or something. Like, they would have to bring in new characters. Stormy, before Stormy left, her and Melanie didn't get along. Like, it just was there was no place for her. She literally torched every friendship and made it clear that she did not value them. I'm not saying that she was wrong. I'm just saying there was nowhere for her to go. Even her and Nell. I mean, and I will say this: I don't blame her for that, because with Chris trying to hook Martell and Trisha up, I wouldn't want to be friends with them either. Your husband is going around telling Martell to hook up with this chick, and they were legally still married. You know. It just was nowhere. She can't be friends with Trisha. She's a liar, and she basically just trying to sleep with her husband. It was nowhere for her to go, you know. It was just nowhere for her to go. Really, when her and Martell divorced, it was over. It was over because she sees the rest of the cast through the lens of the hurt and pain from her and Martell. So there was nowhere for it to go. I think it just ended horribly, but it just, you know, that there was no room for the show to have real relationships after that happened, because everybody's on the outs, and really the rest of them aren't real friends anyway. Hell, even Kimmy and Tisha don't really. It's just weird. Hey, D Glove, you are super late. It's time to go. We are wrapping up. We're wrapping up. So with that said, you guys, Wednesday, Scorpio Mo and I are talking about what happens when breakups go wrong. What happens when breakups go wrong, and there's residue. there's jagged edges. What happens, and you know, what is your worst breakup? And then of course on Friday, we are doing Ready to Love finally, after what it feels like 2 years, right? Trish and Ken scenes are wild. No, they're wild. This last one was wild, with him going off and admitting that he pays all the bills. Just, yes. So what else? Friday, we're doing Ready to Love. And then Saturday, we will meet back here, because trust me, you're going to want to meet back after seeing that reunion. That's all I'm going to say. And trust me, put your alert on to watch the show, because the information is going to be, the tea is ridiculous. And then we'll see you guys here immediately following the reunion at 9 Eastern here. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday for Dating Diaries with Scorpio Mo. Friday, relationship recap on Ready to Love. And there is a wedding on Ready to Love. We'll talk about that. And then on Saturday, we will get to the bottom of this. And we may be here a little long on Saturday, because the tea is that good. Okay. All right. Well, I love you guys for watching. Please, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and like this, leave an XO. Let me know what you think about the Married at First Sight couples. What is your thoughts on David and Michelle, Akichi and Amem, and even Alan and Madison? Do you agree with me that the ladies that Madison thinks that she's suffering from delusions of grandeur, along with Michelle just being a bitch, and Aikichi being like low-key abusive, not even low-key, high-key abusive, severely insecure, and just a toxic disaster? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you think of that video, of basically that first scene when Aikichi goes to Amem's house that I showed earlier, and feels depressed because she has more TVs than him. And his bedroom would fit in her guest bedroom. Like, let me know if you think that was the beginning of the end or the red flags that should have told her to let it go. And if you don't have your copy of Dear Alpha Female, It's Not Him, It's You, an interactive devotional designed to help you attract the love you deserve, get your copy today on Amazon. We should have sent a good copy to our good sis, Mem. I definitely need to get some copies of this book out to some of these ladies that are on this show. Again, I love you guys for watching, and I will see you right back here on Wednesday. Have a beautiful week, guys. All right.